train. My timing is really good with these recording buttons. Let's talk about the last point. Don't want to waste time like I did last time. I cut myself off in the after recording phase because I only had like 20 seconds more of content to talk about, and it was just me going, what else do I gotta talk about? So just move on. Anyway, last point. Freight. Attacking and defending. Let's do defending first, of course. One strategy. Nice. The second train is here too. But anyway, common strategy is to get an engineer, set up a sentry right here. It has good enough vision to be able to catch people who try to come through this doorway. My perspective a second ago was a little bit low, but the sentry is like usually like right about here-ish. So it has a good angle on this doorway, not so much these other two doorways, and because of that, if the attacking side gets a sniper into this the center door right here, or up here into the battlements, if you believe the sign like I talked about in the vocab video, or whatever you want to call it, the window, the side, the far door, the left door, from the attacking perspective, right from the defensive perspective. But if they can get a sniper here, that thing's going to go away. Also, a little trick that was in Jaeger's video is to stand about here and fire a rocket-ish to go through here, kind of curve my path. I didn't have it exact, but whatever. And you do, that's another way to take it out from the attacking perspective, but it's a common thing to put a sentry right here. I don't really see it happen too often anymore, but it does happen from time to time, so if you're attacking, it's important to know about that possibility rather. Defending the point, 9 times out of 10 I see pushes come through this doorway right here. Just like earlier in the second point video, the main reason why it goes through this doorway is because it's fastest. When you pop your Uber coming through the doorway, and this will most definitely be stickied, unless of course you wiped him on the second point and you're just pushing onto the last one, because the distance between the second and the last point is not really that big. Definitely not as big as the midpoint to this point, the second point right here. But yeah, stickies, definitely. If your demo man's alive and you're defending last, first thing you should do, stickies. Right across there. Right across the top right there. But anyway, yes, it's important to keep your demo man alive when you're defending the last point. He's for defending the last point, the demo man is really important to keep them at bay. This train is getting really annoying because they're just everywhere now. But like I was saying, it's really important to keep to have your demo man alive so they can keep them at bay. But once they get in here, your demo man's not as important, because once they make their push in and the stickies are gone, your demo man not as big of a deal if he dies. The biggest deal to lose for your classes to lose on your last point are your soldiers, I think, and then your scouts, and then your medic, and then your demo man. That's just my personal opinion, though. I'm sure somebody will disagree, but you want to watch out when you're defending the point. If you're from the medic's perspective, especially, you want to watch out for snipers. Sometimes you'll also see snipers will typically peek through this doorway or right here, or you'll see sometimes pyros come through here and then try to like push their way up and then like reflect rockets the whole way. I've seen that happen once or twice. It's kind of a weird thing, but it's a nice idea. If sometimes defending, you'll use a heavy. Heavies typically stay about right here and kind of just like wait until they push in, and then, you know, while they're distracted on the point or whatever, they start rolling their minigun, and then they start just like unloading on them, because it's pretty much point blank and you get easy kills if you can do that. So that's pretty nice. But so when you're attacking and you want to like make like a little brief check. It's not that often that you see heavies sit there, but it's been known to happen, and it's worked out. Although it's not a standard play, because it's that trick more or less relies on the surprise factor, and so because of that surprise factor, you don't see it happen very often. Same story with using spies and utility classes. But yes, anyway, back to the defense of the point. You want to have your pocket typically dance around here. Your roaming around this area, pretty much. You want your demo man sitting about right here so that he's out of the way. If there is a sniper on the other side, though, you want to have him sit back behind here as cover. As a demo man, you want to keep visual contact on these kinds of sticky traps or whatever. In the Badlands thing, I'll talk more about that because that's more important. If I do a strategy video for that, I don't know which one I'm going to do next, but yes. What else do I need to talk about? Scouts. If you're a scout, when you're defending, your primary job is just harassment, because you have to get around him from behind, and the best way of doing that is to go through the high road right here, try to sneak around, blah blah blah, pop pop, if you got a fan, or 6 pops, blah blah blah. But that's typically the path you want to take that I just did. Or you can come down from the staircase, although if you come down from the staircase, there's more probability that they'll see you, because when you're I'll talk about attacking now, I guess, but when you're pushing into the attacking, when you're from the attacking perspective on the last point, I had a bunch of wine yesterday and I'm recovering, which is why I'm all over the place, I guess. Excuse me. But when you're attacking the last point, you're typically going to have this area right here be your staging area. This is a nice place to jump down, actually, now that I think about it from a scout's perspective. Jump down. That's pretty nice. But when you're pushing in, pretty much every time you push through the doorway, you're going to need an Uber, assuming that they're not already wiped out as it is. But whenever you have a standoff, Uber is pretty much the only way you can get through there, because you know there's going to be stickies. There's no question about that. There's going to be stickies on this doorway right here. So you need to get that Uber off when you push in through here. And you're going to have maybe like 2 or 3 seconds of Uber time spent running toward the thing, assuming you don't get caught up by maybe a pyro pushing you around. That's another common thing. You can have a pyro sitting here from the defensive perspective, push the medic away when he runs up. It's a nice idea. But from the attacking perspective, your heavy classes typically push through this door, and your scouts try to come in through here as a distraction. Maybe as a distraction right before the actual heavy classes push in, because it's important to try and draw their attention away. So you want to do that to try and get the demo man to not look at his stickies, because like I said earlier, you want to have your demo man watching your stickies. But watching his or her stickies, I mean. From the attacking perspective, you want to have your sniper about here-ish or whatever, or down here peeking through the doorway. The furthest your sniper will come out of this doorway is like right about here to take a little bit of cover. But if you're going to come out of the doorway as a sniper, you don't want to sit along the wall of the doorway, because, or any kind of wall whatsoever, because of rockets, splash damage, and whatnot. So you're typically going to come about up here if you actually exit the door and come out into the open right here, open-ish rather. But if you do, it's very dangerous, because defensive scouts will be dancing around this area, and they'll just like come down the thing and pop you, and that's not fun. But yes, scouts, like I said, just flanking, trying to get picks and whatnot. When you have a standoff on the last or any point whatsoever, I think, your scouts are basically the ones who like try to pick away, try to harass. You know what I'm saying? Because your heavy classes, when there's a standoff, can't really do anything. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your scouts to try and go around, to flank, to harass, to be as much of a nuisance as possible, so that you can try to find an opening, try to knock your opponent's heavy classes, their cohesion, off balance, or spread them out somehow. Or maybe even get a pick if you can. That's the best case scenario. But if you can do that, then you have an opening to push. And coordinating like when to push is really important. So your scouts need to be talking to your medic, so that your medic can make the call to push, assuming your medic is your playmaker, which I'm assuming it is, because that's what I am in my team. That's what pretty much every higher level team that I've seen has their medic doing that. I think I'm running out of time, so I'm going to I can't really think of anything else to talk about actually, so I'm just going to end it here. This is the freight video, so blah, that's done. You're welcome. I'm done.